Hello friends, Namaste, Jai Shri Krishna, how you all guys are doing? Today I'm here just to share my dad's 175 days of journey of COVID. I know since March 2020 the world has changed a lot. If you have seen our day-to-day life, our going to work, buying groceries, meeting friends, everything has changed. Yes, COVID is dangerous and we have to take all the necessary precautionary steps to fight against it. But with my dad's journey, if you can see from here, from November 2020 till May 2021, the thing I have learned is to fight against COVID. Yes, vaccinations, government precautionary steps, those needs to be taken. On the top of that, three things: the fighting spirit, the right medical help, and a right healing process is needed to come out of COVID. The intent of this video is just to inspire people. If a 68-year-old man, my dad, if he can fight and come out of COVID, anybody can come out of it. This video is not against any organization, any country or anywhere, but this is just to inspire people. Well, for me, means I have been in US from past 15 years. My dad, they often come and visit us maybe every couple of years. But this time when he visited with us in December, I would say December 2020, and we were taking all the precautionary steps for COVID. Unfortunately, with the Diwali celebration that happened on 15th November 2020 at my place, that is where our life got into a turning point. On November 15th, it was my mom's birthday, and on the top of that, it was a Diwali celebration. We called a couple of friends and we had firecrackers and everything. On November 26th, that is day when my dad complained about having difficulty in breathing. So we all were like in a big dilemma, big shock that, oh, COVID. We were still not sure it was COVID or not because we didn't know where to get tested for it or what are the steps that needs to be taken. I called up one of my doctor friend and told him we need help. Means, is it really COVID or is it something else we don't know? So my friend, he was a doctor and he immediately told that, okay, you need to go to a clinic and get yourself tested. So me, my mom, my dad, my wife and my 8-year-old son, we went to clinic to get tested. First it was my dad's turn. So my dad went into that clinic and the nurse checked him. The first thing she did was to put an oximeter on his finger. My dad's oxygen level was 70. So nurse immediately told that, okay, he's COVID positive, we need to take him to the hospital. Immediately she gave him a 30-liter oxygen cylinder and my dad was feeling a little bit better with that oxygen mask on him. Immediately the US means that nurse immediately called 911, ambulance came in. My dad, my mom, me and my wife, we all four went to the hospital. My dad, he was a little bit more critical than rest of us, and that was a surprising factor for us. I knew my dad that be it rain or be it sunshine, he used to walk for 7 or 8 kilometers every day. Even on his diet, he's very particular. He used to fast if he has eaten at any occasion. On the other hand, my mom, she has a medical history, but she was doing fine. So my dad, he was immediately on the oxygen mask. The doctors, the nurses, they started taking care of him right away. That hospital was number 1 in Georgia. They had dealt with so many COVID patients, and I was feeling confident that yes, my dad, he'll do good. He was immediately given all the medical attention that was known to us in terms of transferring plasma or giving remdesivir. It was started giving him, doctors started giving him from the day one. At around 9 p.m. on that same night, means doctors came in and they told that okay, now it's time for us to move your dad to hospital ICU unit. ICU unit was more of a quarantine unit where all the COVID patients were taken. So at around 11 a.m. means on one side my dad was moved to ICU, and on the other side my mom, she was also moved to ICU because she was also positive with COVID. So my wife was taking care of my mom and I was with my dad. So that night it was I would say a sleepless night, it was a restless night, and we didn't know what to do or what will happen at the next minute or what will happen tomorrow. Again, after coming back to home, I called my friend, the doctor friend, and he told me that Mittel, don't worry right now, I'll be in touch with the doctors and I'll keep you updated. Since COVID, the hospitals were on complete lockdown and they were into complete quarantine. No visitors were allowed. So we didn't have any medium to connect to my dad. So on 27th November, when my dad was admitted, and I think on 28th November, there was no contact with my dad. On 29th November, that is the time in the morning when I got a call from hospital and the doctors told that the oxygen mask is not enough for my dad. So we have to put him on the BiPAP. Being a non-medical person, I didn't know what was BiPAP. I had to Google it. What is a BiPAP? That is where I understood that it's a bigger mask and it will give oxygen at a higher rate and with a higher force. I was like, okay, since it is since similar to the oxygen mask, we were okay with that. So on 28th November onwards, my dad was on BiPAP. With the BiPAP on the face, my dad couldn't eat or he couldn't drink water, because with that oxygen force, this water or any food particles, they might get into the lungs. But still, the oxygen level of my dad was getting maintained and the respiratory rate was maintained. On December 5th, exactly 1 week after he got admitted, we got a call from doctor that even the BiPAP is not sufficient. Now they have to put my dad on ventilator. So the world stands still for us. Ventilator, we got scared. What will happen now? Ventilator is like in India, if you know, ventilator is put to a patient only when it's a critical and when it's a near death situation. We were all shocked, we were all traumatized, and we were not sure what to do next. But yes, since doctor told to put on the ventilator, we were like, okay, let's do ventilator. So on 5th December, my dad was on ventilator. Now again, means we have to call to the nurses to speak to my dad. We couldn't see my dad, but all we can see is that we were able to do a voice call to my dad. We call a nurse and nurse will put a phone next to my dad. And it was mostly a one-way conversation where I just talk and my dad will only listen. On 10th December, that is when it was my dad's birthday, and we have to request very hard to the nurse that, hey, today is my dad's birthday and we need to see my dad. Just as a token of appreciation or to get my work done, we sent cupcakes and a card to my dad. And the nurse was so kind enough that she did a video call, a FaceTime with us. That was the first time on 10th December when we saw our dad after getting admitted to the hospital. I can see on his face, yes, with his birthday, with seeing me, his grandson, he was happy. But somewhere he was also tensed. Getting COVID, seeing doctors on those big masks and those PPE kits. I shouldn't say he was scared, but yeah, his anxiety levels were getting higher. On 15th December, we got again a call from doctor that Mittel, your dad is doing really fine with the ventilator and his oxygen level is getting maintained and respiratory rates are in control. So it's time to take him out of the ventilator. It was a big relief for my whole family. Dad is coming out. They took out ventilator. I again called up doctors in the evening and they told that your dad is doing fine, he's normal. Let's pray. We all were, yes, being 10% relieved. But on December 17th, that is the time when we again got a call from doctor, and he asked us, Mittel, do you know any history about your dad having anxiety issues or being any paranoid issues? I was like, no, my dad is doing fine. That's the time when I told the doctor that my dad has never ever taken even a paracetamol or Tylenol in his whole life. He's not even applied Vicks Vaporub. That's all the medical history my dad is having. But I was like, okay, tell me doctor, what's going on? So the doctor told me that your dad's respiratory rates are going in 35s to 40s. I was like, what does that mean? What are the normal values? What is the normal range? So the doctor told me that the normal range should be between 14 to 20. I was like, okay, so 35 to 40 is almost double of that. So what should I do, doctor? So the doctor told me that, okay, let's do one thing. You come and visit him, and we'll see how things go on. I was like, I don't mind coming to the hospital, doctor, but what are the things I need to do? He told that right now hospital is in complete quarantine, so no visitors are allowed, but we'll make a special case for you, an exceptional case where you can come and visit your dad. So on December 17th, that was the first time I was able to see my dad face to face. He was sitting with his legs crossed with a BiPAP on his face, and all those machines, big machines around him. So I asked my dad, Dad, how are you feeling now? So my dad told me that I'm okay for now, but the thing is I'm not able to cough properly. I'm feeling congestion in my chest. I'm not able to sleep because of that congestion. So I was, okay Dad, I got the point. Let me talk to doctor and let's see how the things go out. So immediately I came to the doctor and I told doctor that my dad is having cough congestion issue, and that is why it is becoming difficult to breathe for him, and that is why he's not able to sleep in the night, and that is why you see the anxiety issues in him. So the doctors was like, okay, I understood the point and we'll work on it. So they started extracting the congestion out of his chest. That is what they call the vacuum suction, and it was not actually called cough, but it was the mucus that they take out from his chest. They tried everything, but on December 18th, since the respiratory rates were not coming to normal, they had to put back my dad on ventilator. They did call us, and we were again from hope till next we went one step back where, oh, my dad, again they have to put back on the ventilator. But still, we had a spirit, and so my dad has a spirit, a fighting spirit that we can see in him. So my dad on December 18th was back on ventilator, but the respiratory rates were not coming to normal. It was still in 35s to 40s. To add it more to his misery, on 20th December, doctors suggested that since all the remedesivir and heavy antibiotics are given to my dad, the kidneys are not able to cope up in draining out all the waste from the body. So they have to put my dad on a continuous dialysis. Normally dialysis is something that I knew it runs for 3 or 4 hours. But when I searched for continuous dialysis, it meant that the dialysis machine will run for 24/7. Things were getting a little bit on the worst side for us. On December 25th, I requested doctors and nurses to start something new where I can get my dad back with the New Year spirit. But unfortunately, things didn't work out in our favor. On 1st January, when the whole world was celebrating New Year, for us a call from doctor came that my dad got a septic shock in the night and they have to put him on a paralyzed condition. My dad was on a continuous sedation medicine. The high level sedation medicine that is called fentanyl, that is generated from opium. My dad was on 90 mg every hour under that influence of that medicine. So ventilator was running, he was on continuous dialysis, his body was paralyzed, and he was getting continuous sedation medicine. Because of heavy sedation, my dad's body was not functioning the way it has to be. So his blood pressure was dropping. So to maintain the blood pressure, another 90 mg of blood pressure medicine was given to him. Even his heartbeats were going in 120s and 130s. So doctor had started giving him heart rate control medicine also. Again, doctors called us and they again discussed about the comfort care option. Being an Indian and being close to my dad, I wasn't still ready with the comfort care option. But things started getting even worse on 14th January. That is when the doctors called us, and it was early in the morning, it was 7 a.m. and the doctors called us and they told that your dad is having only couple of hours. Me and my wife, we were there with my dad, and my dad was on complete paralyzed situation. Ventilator was on, again the dialysis was running on, there were 5 or 6 drips of medicines that were going in his body, a food pipe was there, and my dad was not moving. We didn't know what to do. I immediately called my mom, did a FaceTime with her. I called my other relatives back in India, and everybody was on FaceTime seeing my dad making last prayers to him. After maybe a couple of hours, I realized that, hey, it's more than 2 hours. And doctors told me that my dad is having only a couple of hours. So is my dad still there or he just passed away? We didn't know that. So I went outside and I called up doctor and I asked him, doctor, what's the current situation of my dad? He was like, your dad is on complete machine support. I was like, yes, I know that, but is he still alive or he's no more? So doctors told that he's still alive, he still has heartbeat, so he's alive. So that is the point where I was like, my dad wasn't supposed to be here. And he's still breathing, he's still alive. That means he's fighting. And I shouldn't go for the comfort care option. So I told doctor that, okay doctor, let's do one thing. Let's take him out of paralyzed medicine and let's see what happens. If the destiny is written for him to survive, he will survive. But if the destiny has other plans, we'll go with that plan. But for now, I'm not ready to pull the plug. Doctors were like, your dad is on complete machine support. Don't try to push the inevitable. That gave me a thought that, oh, I'm trying to push the inevitable. But on the other hand, I got a thought that, oh, my dad has a fighting spirit. I couldn't take wings from a bird. I couldn't pull the plug out of my dad. That was my situation. So we thought, okay, let's see what happens. And we were like, let's play all in. So on 18th January, that is the time where doctors told that, okay, we'll keep on the machine support system and let's see how it goes. So from 18th December, a new journey began for my dad where the doctors were trying to take him out of sedations, taking him out of the dialysis machine, trying to take him out of all the blood pressure medicines. On 22nd January, that is the time where we came to know that my dad is being stable without those paralysis medicine, but he's still on ventilator support, he still needs dialysis, and he still needs sedation medicines. But from ICU to IMCU, that is the way from internal. So on January 22nd, 2021, my dad got moved from ICU unit to IMCU. That's kind of intermediate care unit, but still on ventilator support, still on need of dialysis, and still on some meds for blood pressure as well as sedation medicines. One step down, So the thought process that was running in my mind was, earlier means my dad has only couple of hours to survive, but since that one triggering point where we let him push the limits, push the inevitable, now we are seeing my dad into IMCU but still in a critical condition. On January 28th, that is when my dad was again tested for COVID. The COVID test was done and the result was negative. So we again start having a hope that now my dad will get better. My family, my mom, my 8-year-old son, we were all excited about my dad. Suddenly on 2nd of February, that is when we got again call from the doctor that there is no sign of improvement in my dad. He still needs a high level of ventilator support. He cannot breathe on his own. The dialysis machine, it's keep on running. And all those meds, that is kicking in all the additional complication into my dad's body. We went to meet the doctor and we asked, why still dialysis, still ventilator is running for my dad? So doctor explained us that it's because of the fibrosis. Fibrosis in the lungs that are damaging the whole respiratory system of the body. We were like, let's treat the fibrosis, doctor. Doctor told us that there is no medicine known to treat the fibrosis. Fibrosis are... So we asked doctor, what can be done for the fibrosis? So we got a reply that there is no known medicine for the fibrosis. They can go silent, but you cannot cure them. So second option we asked doctors was to have the lung transplant. Would that be possible? But the doctors told that because of the age factor, no, the lung transplant won't work for my dad's case. We asked for the third option. Can we transport my dad to India and we can see what things can be done back to India? At least he can see his mom, he can be his family in his last moment of his life. But the doctor told that it's very risky for my dad to be in that thin air and being on ventilator, it will be more risk to his life. We were left with no option. But we still had hope. The next thing was on 28th February, where we were again being called by doctors and we were asked that what are the options you have? Should we go for comfort care, or you still want your dad to undergo this misery, to this ventilator support, to this machine support system where even the food is coming through a pipe, where his oxygen, the air is coming from the pipe, the oxygen exhale, the air that is being exhaled from his lungs is done through pipe. His urination, his excretion, everything is done through pipe. Do you still want to continue? With the incident back of 14 January in my back of my mind, we still told the doctor that yes, we'll fight for my dad. We still want my dad to be on this machine support system for now, and my dad will eventually get cured. How? We didn't know. When? We didn't know. All we knew was that yes, we'll fight for it. All my family members, back in India, back in Canada, back in UK, everywhere. From everybody, I used to get only one piece of advice was, Mittel, now it's time to pull the plug. Let's not your dad suffer more. Let's put end to his sufferings. But my mind was still not prepared or not even getting into that direction to pull the plug. So on 21st March, I don't know why, but I called 3 of my friends at a Walmart parking lot to discuss about my current dad's situation and what next step I can take. Basically, I called them just to get a clarity, to get my mind straight out, to pull out the plug, to go for the comfort care option. That was my mindset. But I need inspiration. I need moral support to strengthen this decision. But one of my friend told that, Mittel, he's our dad. You cannot pull plug on him. I have other means where we can try to revive, to heal dad's condition. So he immediately at around 2 o'clock in the night, it was 2 a.m. in US. That is the time when we called Rohit Roy. On 21st March at around 2 a.m. and so we decided to let's make a call to Rohit Roy. And at that point, means I wasn't sure who is Rohit Roy, what he does. I even asked my friend, does he do some kind of black magic, or is he a spiritual leader? What does he do? How he gonna help my dad? At that point, my friend told, just wait and let's see what Rohit Roy needs to say, and we can take it forward from there. Since I didn't have any hope from the doctors or from relatives or from anybody, I was like, it's nothing harm to test it out. Let's see what's going on. I can talk to him and I can discuss with my case with him, and I was pretty much sure in my mind that I'll get an answer as a no. So, okay, we called up Rohit Roy, and when I talked to that person, instead of asking me for more details on my dad, he just asked me, Mittel, please send me your dad's picture. I can look into it, what's going on, and I shall update you back. There was a brief pause by me, and I was eager to tell him the whole story about my dad, that his the COVID situation, the ventilator situation, the dialysis situation, but he didn't allow me to speak it out. He was like, send me the picture, let me look into it, and I shall get back to you. I was like, okay. So within few minutes itself, I sent pictures of my dad to him, and I just waited for his answer. But in back of my mind, I was like, should I go for this? Shouldn't I go for this? What difference he will make? Those sorts of lot of questions were going on in my mind. So again, I called up my friend. It was pretty much around 4 a.m. in the morning, and I asked him, where is Rohit Roy based at? So my friend told he's at Mumbai. So again, from Mumbai, how he gonna help or how he gonna cure my dad? But I kept it my usual stand on it. Let destiny decide on him. I slept in the night. No news from Rohit Roy. And early, means in the morning at around 11 or 12, my friend called me back and he told, Dada wants to speak to you. So I was like, wait, who is Dada now? So my friend explained me that since Rohit Roy, he's from Bengal, that's why we call him Dada. So I was like, oh, okay, that perfectly makes sense. Let's make a call and let's see what's going on. So when we called him, before any report I can give to him or before any update I can give to him on the current situation of my dad, he himself started telling me what was going on with my dad. He told, your dad is in critical condition. He's on a ventilator support, and I'm not sure why he's on dialysis. His body doesn't need dialysis. I'm not sure why doctors are pushing to get him dialysis done. For a moment, I thought, doctors are more educated, right? They know more about the body and the human structure and everything. They must be knowing something that Dada is missing, and that's why doctors are doing dialysis. But other than that, I was like, Dada, what are the next steps I need to do? So Dada clearly told me that I have started working on your dad. This is like an occult science where we create an aura for your dad. It's an health aura and his healing aura, where your dad will gradually heal out of this COVID situation and he'll get healthy. All this terminology were new to me. I didn't know what is occult science or what is aura or what he gonna do. Next thing I did was, yes, I knocked my head to Dada and I said, yes, Dada, let's move forward. once we dropped out of the call, immediately I googled and I looked for Rohit Roy. I looked for Occult Science. I looked for the Aura Guard. To my amusement, I even visited his website. And it was surprising for me that yes, this is the Vedic science. This is the science that we used way back in the ages by all our saints and gurus. So I had again a sprout of hope again came out from the seed. At the same moment, I again called back Dada and I asked Dada, now I have a little belief in you. Tell me what you need. I was expecting some sort of money arrangement to be done or some sort of favors I was expecting. But in return, the answer I got was, Mittel, all I need is a regular based reporting from you. Dada, what does reporting means? So he told me that from here, back in India, I'll do all the aura guard, I'll put all the gemstones for your dad and we'll try to heal your dad's whole body. But I need his day-to-day progress. I was like, yes, I can easily provide you that because I get all the online reports are there for my dad and I can easily work on it. So on that day, I started sending him the reports and everything, and Dada took care of my dad. Later on, Dada asked about more details. He needed real-time data of respiratory system, real-time data of all the heartbeats, blood pressure, the medicine he was given, what time medicine was given, all sorts of details. At that point, I couldn't provide those details. So what should I do next? So we tricked in a way that we told the doctors and nurses that we want to see our dad 24/7. We want to be with him because since physically we cannot be there, we need some medium where we can see my dad all the time, round the clock. So nurses and doctors told that that's not possible. If you can provide a device, we can maybe look into it. So that clicked an idea for us. I immediately ran to my 8-year-old son and I asked for his iPad. I told him, Beta, if you give this iPad, we can put it next to Dada and we can see Dada round the clock. The iPad was very dear to my son, but still, when it comes about Grandpa, my son easily gave that iPad and we placed that iPad right next to my dad and we were monitoring my dad and we were monitoring all the vital signs. That includes the respiratory rates, his oxygen level, heartbeats, blood pressure, you name the thing, and we were able to see everything. And I was able to provide that same data to Dada. There were so many instances, countless I would say, since March 21 till May 21. There were countless incidents where when my dad's respiratory rate goes high, it used to go in 50s and 60s. When the oxygen level went down to 70s and 60s and 70s, I immediately used to call Dada and I tell Dada, this is what's going on, do something. I was expecting that Dada will tell me that, okay, give me 1 day of time, give me 30 minutes of time, let me do something. Because even a medicine, if a simple pill if you take, even that medicine takes 2 hours to give the reaction. So, but Dada's answer was, Mittel, report me every minute and I'll start working on it. Within minutes, I used to see the respiratory coming down to, not normal, but it used to come back to dad's normal, that was in 30s. The oxygen level was coming back to normal to 97, 98. That too in minutes. So my hope and I was expecting that my prayers are working, my hopes are now finally coming into the colors. But the dialysis was still going on. So I asked Dada one day, Dada, dialysis is still going on and that is worsening my dad's situation. Dada told, okay, let's start working on the dialysis part. Within 2 days, doctors came back and told that now the need of dialysis is not on a continuous basis, but we'll need it for 3 times in a week. So every time it used to happen on Saturday, on Wednesday, and on Thursday. Whenever the dialysis, they take the reports every night. The next day dialysis is done, and in the evening when they again take the report, my dad's burn value used to rise to 120. Normal, it has to be within 60s. But my dad's burn value and everything was shooting up like anything. But still, a better thing, rather than a continuous dialysis, now we were in need of dialysis 3 times in a week. So that helped us a lot, and I again got a hope for my dad. But the ventilator system, the support system was not going away. So when we took case to Dada, and Dada started working on it, and at around May 26th, I told Dada that Dada, my dad's situation is getting worsened because of the acidity level. Dada told, yes, I know, that is called acidosis. But he needed readings for those. So I immediately went back to doctors and I told to get a pH level report on my dad's blood report. To our irony, the acid level was way beyond control. That means the body was getting into acidosis. His body was generating more acid. The carbon dioxide was not getting released from the body properly. So I asked Dada, please help us here. Dada immediately told, yes, he's working on removing the carbon dioxide from his body, but still the acid levels are high. So we can do one thing, is start giving him alkaline water. At that point, alkaline water was something new terminology for me, and I didn't even knew that alkaline water does exist. I immediately went to the store and I saw, yes, alkaline waters are there, readily available. What good it will do? On having conversation with Dada, he told that to bring down acid level, you need alkaline substance in your body. It's a simple science. But human body, we all trust on the medical more and not on the simple basic science. That's what Dada starts removing any disease or any cure that is done from the root level. If the body's acid level, if you neutralize with the alkaline, you don't need any more medicines. That's Dada's simple funda. The other instance came in was with the food. We tried with the food, with our Gujarati food, khichdi and doodh. But Dada immediately told me, Mittel, right now doodh will become, the milk I would say, yes, it will become heavy to digest. Rather than that, start with some fruits. So now I could relate Dada's work with the science. Getting rid of any disease, getting rid of any unwanted substance from the body, from the root level. So it was 1st April, where dialysis now was 3 times in a week, but the respiratory system, the respiratory support system, that was ventilator, that was still going on. So I went back to Dada and I told Dada, that situation is not getting any better. What shall I do? Dada clearly told me, Mittel, have patience, we are working on it, and I can see there is a lot of improvement in your dad. For me, being in front of my dad, I couldn't see those improvements, those healing stuff, I couldn't see it. Adding to my misery, there was a meeting that happened with all the doctors, the pulmonary doctor, the kidney doctor, the lung doctor, the regular physician, the nurses, and they told me that, Mittel, your dad's situation is not improving. For a lifetime, he will be on machine support system. He will be bed bound. That came as a shocker for me. What does bed bound means? They explained me that for the lifetime, your dad will be on this ventilator system, and 3 times in a week, he has to undergo dialysis. These 2 things will never ever go from his life. This is how his new normal will be there going forward. Back of my mind, I was again thinking that, oh, we are back to square one. My dad, he won't be able to heal properly. He won't be able to get better anytime soon. Same night, I again called Dada And I explained, Dada, this is the situation which what doctors have told me. But Dada was confident. Dada told me that, Mittel, don't worry, I can see your dad is healing and we'll move forward with this. I was like, okay, let's go for it. The next thing came was on the Saturday. On the Saturday around 5 p.m. after the dialysis was completed, there was a panic shock on my dad. Panic means his respiratory rate was going on 70s and 80s. His oxygen level was fluctuating between 70 and 92. Sometimes it comes to 70 and again it shoots up to 92. It was pretty much late night in India. But again, I called Dada and I told Dada, this is the situation, what should I do now? Dada immediately picked up my call and he told me that, Mittel, let me work on it. He did something from there. He arranged the grid, he balanced the grid. And here my dad was back to a little bit of normal. But he wasn't that usual normal where his respiratory will come within 30s and 40s. I was tense. That whole night I couldn't sleep and I talked to Dada again in the night. I asked Dada, what can we do now? At that point, Dada suggested that, Mittel, Aura Guard is not enough for now. We have to do the stress management of the hospital now. Again, add to my questions, adding up to my curiosity mind, what is now stress management, Dada? So he told me that the stress management, that are the magnetic fields beneath the earth that impacts a lot on a patient or on a person, be he's in a house or he's in a hospital. I didn't have any clue about it, so I told Dada, let's go forward, Dada. Let's see, because I had seen little bit of change, a little bit of improvement in my dad, and I wanted to keep that improvement continue throughout his journey. So Dada immediately started working on the stress management of the hospital. He asked for a couple of pictures and everything. I provided those to him and he immediately started working on it. Now the things started changing in terms of first the dialysis. Now the need of dialysis dropped back to 2 times in a week rather than 3 times in a week that was earlier. I was happy about it. I had a hope now. The ventilator support, earlier it was on PSR support, PCR support. Now it was dropping to a PS. The PS terminology is where after the PS, the pressure support system, now there was a hope that he can come out of the ventilator. But still, the pressure support settings were too high. So on April 5th, that was the time where we were again being called by doctors and they told that your dad's situation is not at all improving. Now it's time for you to decide on the comfort care or take him to home as is. As is means with the ventilator support and with the need of dialysis. Again, my morale, my confidence, everything broke down. But there was a 1% chance where I believed in Dada. Dada gonna retrieve my dad. I didn't call up Dada, I didn't give him much update, but I was regularly following up with him on his the vital signs. Those are the respiratory rates and the heartbeats and the oxygen level. Every day, means be it middle of the day or it's in the middle of the night. Whenever I used to call Dada, he immediately used to get up on my case and he immediately looked into that situation and I could see the results in minutes. If you can see, I was reporting to Dada 5 times in a minute. That Dada was saying that yes, this reporting is helping me and we are seeing the result in healing of your dad. But for me at the peripheral level, from the doctor's standpoint, I couldn't see or I couldn't absorb that thing that my dad is improving. But Dada was confident. On 15th of April, that was the time where the whole ball game started changing. The pressure support system that was on the setting of 60, now it dropped to 40. Dialysis need was still 2 times in a week, but they were regularly checking on my dad every night. All the reports were coming in and the burn value that used to shoot up to more than 100, now it is getting controlled, it was getting sustained within 100. So I called up Dada and I told Dada, now dialysis is getting a little bit on a lighter mode, but we still need to work on the ventilation system. Dada told me, Mittel, whatever you say, I have already planned for it, and all the healing process is going as per the plan, so you don't worry. But because of just my curiosity, my eagerness, and I would say my greediness to see my dad back healthy, I was pushing Dada, but Dada was like, Mittel, have patience. On 22nd, I would say, 22nd April was the time when doctors called us. So the meeting was at 11 a.m. of Eastern Standard Time, and I was still worried. I was worried that what if the doctors will say that you have to take your dad to home, and hospital won't be able to support much because medically everything was done by doctors. And this is the new normal where my dad has to live with the ventilator system and the dialysis. I called up Dada and I told Dada, I'm tensed, I don't know what to speak in tomorrow's meeting. What should I answer if they tell me that I have to take dad to home with all these ventilator systems? I won't be able to, I'll try to support and I'll try to learn those machines, but at certain point, I wouldn't know what settings needs to be changed, what disaster management need to be done. I wouldn't know those things. Dada told that, Mittel, don't worry, today's meeting will be a positive meeting. Just go in there, don't answer anything, just listen to what doctors have to say. To my surprise, when me and my wife went into that meeting, doctors were talking about the next step, what can be done to heal my dad. There was not a single conversation that revolved around comfort care. There was not a single conversation that revolved around taking dad to home with these support systems. In fact, doctors were positive that, okay, let's try putting more steroids in my dad's body, and that can help in the lung movement, the contraction and the expansion of the lungs. At that time, now I was 100% confident on Dada's thing, because from both the side, I was getting positive approach from the doctors as well as from the Dada that yes, my dad is healing. Gradually, but my dad was still in IMCU unit. He was still under constant watch from all the doctors and nurses. On 10th May, that is the day when the new things started coming up. The new improvement we can see in my dad's body, that was dialysis. Now the need of dialysis dropped to once in a week. The ventilator support system dropped down to 40 now. So yes, we were seeing a lot of improvement in my dad, but still it was not up to the mark where we can take dad home. Now, the doctors were still in a hope that yes, dad will get improved. To me, it was a new month and new beginning, and I was still worried about my dad, that now it's almost more than 5 months that my dad is in hospital and we couldn't see any positive result, a ray of hope which can say that my dad will get cured and he'll be out of the hospital. I called up Dada and I told Dada, now it's the limit. What should we do next? Dada clearly answered me that, Mittel, don't worry. I can see a lot of improvement in your dad. The healing process, the amount of energy that my dad needs to receive, he's receiving it from here. I was like, okay Dada, let's see. To my surprise, on 8th May, they dropped down the ventilator setting to 20. That is the minimum required for any person that can come out of the ventilator. So my whole family was happy, and again Dada's point came to light, that came to true, that yes, the healing process is working. May 10th was the day when the ventilator machine went out of the room. The doctors, the nurses, my family, everybody was surprised. What's going on? How did this miracle happen? How did the ventilator system went just away? It wasn't even like a couple of months, but it was just within a month that the whole transformation started happening. My dad was back on the BiPAP, the thing that he used back in December 6th. Again, we were in a situation, there it was negative, now it is turning into the positive BiPAP. Dialysis need, it get into zero. There was no need of dialysis. The burn value were coming in control. The ventilator support system went out, but my dad was still under the blood pressure medicine. No lung medicine or no respiratory medicine, rather I would say. No kidney medicines were given to my dad since March. But still, we could see the improvement in terms of ventilator machine, coming out of the ventilator machine, coming out of the dialysis. That was only possible because of Dada. On May 11th, that was the day when my dad's ventilator system was off and even the dialysis need has stopped. What else needs to be done? My dad was still on 10 liters of oxygen. Now my again anxiousness rose me up to a point where I want my dad to be fit and healthy. So I again called up Dada and I told Dada, he's still on, yes, ventilator has gone, dialysis need has stopped, but still he's on 10 liters of oxygen. Dada clearly told me again, Mittel, don't worry, we'll bring down that need and the oxygen will be gone. The oxygen pipe will be gone from my dad's body. I was like, Dada, okay, let's see. On May 18th was the day when we were again being called by doctors. To add it to our stress level, I was like, now what? Are they going to talk about taking my dad on this 10 liters of oxygen? How would I manage this thing at home? What if the dialysis need comes up? Who will keep the regular monitoring on my dad? Those questions were running in my mind and I called Dada again. Dada, what should I do now? Dada told me again that Mittel, don't worry, just go to the meeting. They'll talk about the discharge plan, but it will be your dad will be at comfortable position. Okay, I went to the meeting again, me and my wife, and to our surprise, doctors told that we'll monitor him for another 2 or 3 days and then after we'll discharge him. But for now, let's move your dad into a general ward. So now the journey has transformed from ICU unit to IMCU and now into the general ward. Wow, we were excited. That general ward means the next step will be out of the hospital. We were so happy and we were so amazed with the work of Dada. So on that same evening, it was pretty much early morning, that was 4 a.m. in India. I called Dada and I told Dada, this is the good news that Dad is getting now moved into general ward. What else needs to be done? Dada told that don't worry Mittel, your dad is in comfortable situation. So on that night, Dad was moved into the general ward and he was doing pretty much fine. The reason he was doing pretty much fine was, yes, the healing process was getting done, but now Dad was able to take food from his mouth. He was able to drink water. So those were the big things for my dad. Even I can see on his face the confidence level he now grew up with the eating of food, with drinking water. Imagine about a person not having water for more than almost 4 months and all of a sudden he's allowed to drink water. The whole family came into tears, but it was a joyous tear now. Tears were just coming out to see Dad happy. May 21st was the day So May 21st was the day when my dad finally was able to get discharged from the hospital. All the doctors, all the nurses, they came to have a walk of fame for my dad. My dad was so happy, I can see a sparkle in his eyes. My mom, she was so happy. My sister, my family members, unbelievable transition. From zero hope to a new normal to a regular normal. New normal was to live life, sustain life with all those machine support systems that comes as ventilator and dialysis. And the regular normal is no ventilator, no dialysis, just on the oxygen pipe, and that too at 4 liters of oxygen.